heaven. Für einen Tag.
Gonna say, what a guy. I'm gonna play for the sky. Ain't gonna miss a thing. I'm gonna have my fling. I'm gonna live until I die.
Hey, Red Spotters, we're back here on After Dark. I'm Alexis, and this is Peter. Kyle would have joined us, but apparently
He's a little bitch.
Well, he had to go be an Uber driver, apparently. So, that's why he can't be here. But we're talking about not one, but two films that we actually went to go see. A double feature, which is not something we do all the time. And the films that we saw today are, in order, Taika Waititi's new film, Jojo Rabbit, and Rian Johnson, the dreaded Rian Johnson, kidding, of course, Knives Out. We saw these films nearly back-to-back. We had a little bit of a break in between. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we saw the movies, and they're really good. I think we really liked them, and we're going to talk about what we really liked about them. So, clearly, we would think that these would be films that people would like, right? I think these are some of the best films that we've seen all year long.
Yeah.
Very easily to say.
I like them.
Yeah. So, that's where we are. Do you know which one do you want to start off with?
I leave that up to you.
I don't care.
I leave that up to you.
I don't want to make this choice. Just do it.
I leave that up to you.
Okay. Can you please just
make a decision?
I don't want to make that decision. I just told you. Why don't you want to make the decision?
Because I don't want to. I don't want to.
What do you think?
I think you should decide.
Jojo Rabbit, go.
Alexis decided on Jojo Rabbit, so we will discuss Jojo Rabbit first. I very much enjoyed Jojo Rabbit. It might be Taika's best film. I think he's grown a lot as a filmmaker. I was kind of worried about it because it seemed to get kind of mixed reactions from people, but I really, really liked it. I think I liked it more than I thought I would. I also thought maybe the tonal shifts would be difficult, but they weren't.
Because that was something people were saying were difficult for them.
Yeah. I thought they worked perfectly fine for me, and I think, in fact, I think they're pretty effective a couple of times. It's a really good movie, and I very much enjoyed it, and please go watch it, because it's probably leaving your theater tomorrow.
Yeah, literally tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I love the film. I think it's easily Taika Waititi's best work. I feel that the movie shows off the best of what Taika Waititi is known for, and there's also, to me, an added value in this film, unlike the other films of his that I have seen, where there is more emphasis on emotion and heart, which has been something that has been lacking, at least for me, in many of his movies. Not that they needed it. I think in many of his other films, I think they worked just fine with what they were. This is signature Taika, but just something, I guess you can call it, more weight on the film. Definitely. Especially with the subject matter. Mm-hmm. I love the movie, especially the moments where it became... I loved how maybe in the first opening moments, you start off with this kid, and maybe you should look up the kid's name. The lead actor in this film.
Oh, the actor?
Yeah, he was great in this movie. It starts off with him and Taika Waititi, who plays somebody here. I don't know if I should reveal it, but he is getting amped up because he's basically going to go into Nazi camp. This takes place in Germany, Nazi Germany, toward the
Hitler Youth.
Exactly, is what they call it. And within
Roman Griffin Davis.
Roman Griffin Davis?
Yes.
Roman Griffin Davis was
the little boy.
outstanding in this film. In many ways, the film really kind of rests on whether his performance is great, and it is. I found him to be just great for this movie. So it starts off, and within minutes, I had this big smile on my face because I could literally see. It's as if I cut back to the first time the Disney executives were screening this film, and I loved the fact that they must have been horrified within opening seconds of the film about what they were seeing, because this is for sure a film they never would have approved of, ever.
Well, they did have Miramax back in the day.
And where is it now?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I forgot. That was a rumor going around, that they were worried about the film. Well, the film does start. No,
there were reports out there that they were screaming, that they were upset. Like there was a Disney
rumors.
There was a Disney executive.
I don't peddle fake news.
You were saying?
I will say they do lay it on pretty thick with the Nazi stuff, like boom, right away. And you're kind of laughing, but it's a little nervous laugh. Like some of the funniest shit at the beginning is just how many times they say Heil Hitler. Like they say that so much. And
as a joke.
Yeah, as a joke. But what makes it just kind of uneasy is that it's like light-hearted humor.
Yes.
Backdrop against, again, Nazi Germany. So it kind of throws you off at first. But it's still very funny. But as you slowly go through the film, its intent is peeled back pretty quickly. And you're like, okay, I understand where they're going with this. It still makes where they go very effective, even though you kind of understand what this main character's journey will be pretty early on.
And it's incredibly effective because it's incredibly moving.
Yeah.
It, for better or for worse, this film is, but I feel like that's spoiling it. I don't know if I want to say what the character arc of the characters, unless we're just.
I will say, I feel like a lot of people are selling short the emotional aspects of the film.
I didn't expect it.
They affected me. So
I didn't expect it. That's why I mentioned it in my opening remarks, because I mean, it ain't to say that I was expecting a full-blown comedy here, but I'm familiar with Taika's work. Yeah. You kind of know what his movie is going to be. Mm-hmm. And it was incredibly effective, but what isn't being mentioned as much is, as you say, how moving it can be. And it's not like, I mean, don't get us wrong. It's not as if you're going to be weeping and like whenever, but it's like there are moments in the film that I guess you could say show growth on the part of Taika, because he goes places, especially close to the heart, mm-hmm. that he hasn't really done and gone before. Mm-hmm. And I guess maybe you need that if you're going to do a satire on Hitler, maybe?
Well, just to take on this project, it's gutsy, because you gotta write a line, and you gotta very much stay on that line, because you fall too far either way.
And many people, many detractors of the film would say that he didn't do a good enough job of that, from what they say.
I feel like a lot of them said that the film lacked teeth as far as its criticism. I don't know.
Well, to mention what you were just saying is, because of the nature of the film, it has to write a fine line. And from what you told me and from what we've heard from other people's reactions is that they believed that it didn't do that, and that perhaps it ended up being more of, I don't know, I guess a Nazi movie? I don't know what...
I don't know. Their reviews are out there. They can read them. Spoilers. You want to do?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it.
Okay.
So, remind me, what is it? Johannes? Is that the character's name?
Which one?
The main character.
Johannes? I thought it was Jojo.
It is Jojo. What the fuck? What was I thinking? Somebody called him Johannes, didn't it?
I don't remember it.
Jojo. Yeah, the actual character's name is Jojo. And how he gets the name Jojo Rabbit is pretty fun, so I won't spoil that. This kid is endearing as hell.
Yeah.
And, you really do sympathize with him in particular, because he is 10 years old. And here, I mean, at first, you see the heart that he has on his sleeve, but then you also, through the vicariously, you do see the effect of the propaganda in Nazi Germany, how incredibly effective it was with its youth, and all of the fantastical, fanatical stories of which ended up really kind of, in a way, they're held as something to live up to. And with JoJo, talking about spoilers now, Taika Waititi's role in the film is JoJo's imagination of what Hitler would be, Adolf Hitler, who he is told to worship, obviously the Fuhrer and everything. Which, Taika Waititi playing Adolf Hitler,
that's very funny. Some of the best gags in the film are just him in the background acting like an idiot.
Absolutely. And they were kind of ingenious the way that it was handled. And that's very much up Taika's alley. Mm-hmm. And so all of the humor that was supplied through that, Taika, it was definitely handled in the best way possible. We had some big laughs. But it's also discovered in the film that the family, or his mother, portrayed by Scarlett Johansson, is harboring a Jewish girl, mm-hmm. who, of course, at the time, if you know, because apparently people forget what Auschwitz was about these days, according to studies, the Jews were being exterminated and kicked out, put in concentration camps, obviously World War II, and clearly Scarlett Johansson, who plays the mother of JoJo here, you kind of figured it from the very beginning that she was really not a Nazi at all. No. And she was just like playing along with all of this crap, but secretly she was kind of for the resistance. Mm-hmm. And she was harboring a fugitive, basically. Mm-hmm. Some of the best moments I thought were her and JoJo together. They really had, and him and JoJo really had a lot of really funny and interesting relationships with many of the characters in these films. Mm-hmm. And I think it really speaks to, I forget the actor's name that you mentioned.
I think Johan was the friend. Was that the friend?
Maybe.
What was the name of the friend?
It was
he
somebody.
Screamed his name all the time.
Yeah. But it really speaks to how great of an actor he is, that he was able to withstand his own with like some of the great actors that are in this film, like Taika, Scarlett, and who won the Oscar? Who played Justin Hammer?
Yeah. Not to ask me for names.
Yeah.
Hold on, I actually still have the names up here. Sam Rockwell.
Rebel Wilson was in this film, and she was hilarious.
Yeah, she was funny.
Speaking of Sam Rockwell, he was also great in the film. It ends in a surprisingly touching way. One that kind of like, especially with him and his character. Theon's in the movie.
Yeah, he is. That's right. That's who he was. I remember he was really familiar. Yeah.
What else can we say other than that? This is what category of film would you put? Because could it be considered a coming of age story in a way? Because like with the journey that JoJo,
because I think the thematic purpose it is for like. Sort of the journey you would see people take when they fall down these become Nazi to do this. So he's a young kid that just wants to belong, and Nazi party provides him that opportunity to belong, and that can lead down some bad roads. And I think currently, especially on the internet, you can see that happen with people. I think that's sort of like the modern day aspect that you can look at that. And him, it's just sort of like learning about the bigger issues of the world and learning beyond that, that whole thing. So yeah, I would say coming of age. I'd also say dark comedy, dramedy, satire, that kind of shit. But like if I had to pick one, I don't.
Right.
Comedy.
It's a combination of different things.
Yeah.
Well, tell me more.
I like films like that. I like films where it's like you can't perfectly place, obviously comedies in there. What do you mean?
More thoughts on the film. More
thoughts? Oh boy. I agree. All the performances were great. We're probably going to talk about this in a podcast, right?
Obviously.
Okay, so I'm not going to get into, like, more specific details, because I don't want to get into, like, specific scenes or whatever, because we'll do that.
Yeah.
But I really, really got a much better experience than I had assumed, and I already thought that, oh yeah, this is going to be a good film.
Yeah.
But it really impressed me.
Yeah.
Not only with its direction, but the way it handled the material.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's hard material to handle.
It is, and also the tonal, people would say it could have been tonal inconsistencies, but they actually complemented each other very well.
And it can come out, and if you fuck up the tone, it can come off very offensive.
Not only that, but it could fuck up the whole movie.
Yeah, it could fuck up the whole point and the whole message of the film. But I feel it doesn't do that at all. And at the end, I was like, wow, this is easily one of the best.
This is the result of something that is a huge risk, but pays off in the best way possible, I feel.
Yeah. I really liked it. Go see it.
Yes, Jojo Rabbit. If you still can.
If you still can.
To me, one of the most surprising, moving, hilarious experiences I've seen in the theater in a long time. Love this movie. Yeah.
Say enough.
We're not doing that. We're doing them both at the same time.
I know.
So Knives Out. Rian Johnson came back and wrote, he wrote and directed this film. Everybody in the world stars in it. No spoilers right now.
Yeah, no spoilers.
It is a whodunit. And what's a whodunit, Peter?
A Rian Johnson whodunit. It's a mystery movie.
It's basically your murder mystery. Like Murder on the Orient Express kind of crap.
Murder, She Wrote?
Yes. Interesting film to do after this one. This movie is... It's endlessly enjoyable.
Yeah.
Endlessly enjoyable. A hoot. I almost have no words for it, other than the fact that I really, really liked it.
I really enjoyed it. I was very thoroughly entertained. There is a scene in the middle of the film that I have not laughed that hard in a movie theater in a long time. And the scene just kept going and going and going. And it involves all the actors, and they're just all going for it. And oh my god. This is a very entertaining film. I think it's a very good mystery. I was engaged throughout the entire thing. It's just like a really entertaining film. It's a great Thanksgiving film.
Oh yes. It came out at the perfect time of year.
Fantastic Thanksgiving film. Yeah, I don't know. To me, Rian Johnson has never made a bad film. Currently. So, and this is one of his best films, I feel. I don't know where I would rank them all. But I very, very much enjoyed it.
To me, if you're going to do a type of movie like this, a whodunit, as it's called, the worst thing that could have happened is you could have figured it out within the opening moments of the film, or even halfway through. Maybe you can. But I think in a way that it is arranged, and especially as the film slowly unfolds and reveals the things that have happened, I think were handled very cleverly.
Yes.
And unexpected. And I also will say that the performances obviously were all great. It is an ensemble cast. Clearly some actors get more than others. But I think for me the standouts, clearly Ana de Armas was outstanding in here, as well as you have Chris Evans and you have Daniel Craig in particular.
Of course, Daniel Craig. Yeah.
was outstanding in the movie. I loved Michael Shannon and Jamie Lee Curtis and Toni Collette. And who was the other one that played?
Don Johnson.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I particularly liked his character. I thought his was really funny. And Toni Collette is fantastic in everything she does. She was robbed of an Oscar. With which film?
They mean nothing anyway. So
she was robbed.
The whole you can't be robbed of things that don't matter. The thing is this.
Go on.
All of these actors, when they have their own scenes, are great. Then they're even better together, which is kind of the part of the appeal of the film.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, there was a scene where involves all of them, and the way it explodes is beautiful to watch.
Yes.
In the best way possible.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as criticisms are concerned, I can't come up with anything about the movie that I did not like. Maybe there are some, I guess because of the nature of the cast, there are members of the family, shall we say, that are irrelevant or underutilized, you could say.
I could say that, but it's like, well, the point of the film isn't to utilize everyone equally.
Yeah.
It's to tell the story.
Right.
And whatever part the character plays, that's the part they play, either small or big. As long as the story works, that shouldn't matter.
I also do not understand the criticism that the film turns into something else than a whodunit murder mystery movie.
Yeah.
People were saying that around halfway through the film, something big happens, and the film ends up being something else than it's not, and I think the film is being advertised perfectly for what it is. I think it stays true to what it is, especially how the revelations are unfolded and how they're revealed.
And I think the best whodunit, like murder mystery type films are the ones where you follow along the whole time and you feel like you can solve it with the information presented to you by the film itself. And even if you don't figure it out, that's probably what the film wants, because they want it to be super clever. But when you go back and look at the end of the film, when they finally do reveal everything that happens, when you go back and look at the whole thing, you should be able to go like, oh, with what was given to me by the film, I could have figured it out.
Yeah.
And this film does do that. I never felt like cheap, like any of the revelations or anything like that, which sometimes bad stories can do, just so they can say like, oh, you didn't figure it out, right? Well, like, yeah, I didn't figure it out because this was dumb. But no, I think that this was really well written. I thought it was a really tight script, tight story. All the moving pieces, I think, worked well.
Yeah, and there's been some talk about the politics concerning the movie.
By some people.
And I think that enhances the holiday aspect of which the film is being released in.
Yeah. It's looking at politics from a very holiday-type lens, where it's like, oh god, all these terrible people coming together. And
make no mistake, we're talking about some very terrible people.
Yeah.
Which can make for a highly entertaining film. And it ends perfectly.
Great ending, yes.
So I agree with you. Maybe the best thing you can say, and there's a lot of great things you can say, is how airtight the screenplay is, and it had to be. And maybe like films like these, no matter how good the performance or how good the cast is, and they are, most always depends entirely on the script and the writing.
Yeah.
And so many times we've seen stories like these can go south and wrong in so many ways, and this one didn't. And I'll say, I didn't... It didn't... It wasn't going to go the way that I thought. It didn't go the way that I thought. The ending of it. But, having said, having what you said, now in future viewings of the film, I can go back and like, yeah, it was staring me in the face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You could have figured this out. And I think that's what the best of these kind of movies can do.
That's kind of the goal, right?
Yeah.
To create a mystery that's staring the viewer in the face the whole time, but they still aren't able to solve it or something.
Like a mystery box, right?
No.
Okay.
Not at all. Because these kind of mysteries, they've started already knowing what the point is, and then they work their way back. They don't go like...
And they're better?
Obviously. Do you want to go spoilers in this film? I don't know if I want to spoil it that much.
This is one of those films, maybe more so than any other movie that we've talked about all year long, but it's one of those movies that if we go into what is revealed, it almost eliminates the point of watching it. And I don't want to eliminate that because it is a great film by a great filmmaker. It is coming out at the best time to see a film like this. And I really hope that every dollar not going to Frozen 2, to Anna and Elsa, goes to Knives Out. So, to talk about, I guess, any more might seem fruitless.
Yeah. I feel like the only way to do spoilers is to talk about the specific plot details that happen, but it's like, I'd rather not.
Well, this film, with this and Jojo Rabbit, I can clearly say they're some of my favorite films of the year. Easily. And some of the best cinematic experiences. Like, these are the kind of movies that I go for and hope to happen. Like, in some ways, they're the best kind of films because they're not the kind of films that are over-promoted, overhyped. You only hear about it. When it gets closer, you can maybe get 1-2 trailer tops, no TV spots, and then when you see it, most of what you see is a genuine surprise. Unlike another movie we'll be seeing this month, where we kind of can put the pieces together next month. Next month. It feels like we're already in next month.
I know.
That can kind of put the pieces together.
That comes with the nature of massive films like that. What we're trying to say is, like, it's nice to smaller films where it's just like, this looks good, let me go watch it. Oh, shit. What is it? You know, the entire experience I have is, it's a surprise, and it's a great surprise. Whereas with other films, it's like, with big films, it's hard to not already know exactly what you're getting as you walk in the door. Because general audiences, you know, they don't like surprises in that way. They go, for the big films, people go because they want to see they want to know exactly what they're going to see. Whereas with smaller films, you can have these sort of nice surprises and experiences. Yeah.
And on that, you know, to kind of bow it all together, maybe Knives Out would be easier to figure out, but what do you think the appeal of these two films would be to general audiences? I think maybe Knives Out appeals to a more broad group of people because of the family component.
I would say so.
Because of the holiday. But I will say, as you've said in the Afterdark sometimes, that our community is kind of a barometer for general audiences when we go into a theater and whether it's empty or full. I was genuinely surprised, as were you, how many people were actually seeing Jojo.
Yeah, that was actually...
And, more to the point, I was surprised how they enjoyed it. They literally were enjoying the film. And what do you think? Do you think Jojo has maybe more of a broad appeal than it may seem?
I think it would, but the difficult part is just people to go like, hey, go see that Nazi movie. Like, that's the hard sell, right?
There's some Nazis in Knives Out.
Yeah, but they don't make that the poster of the movie. It's like, hey, check out this fun murder mystery. Captain America says naughty words, come on in. Whereas with, like, Jojo Rabbit, it's like, here's Hitler, and it's like, I don't know if I'm feeling that.
Who did you enjoy the most in Knives Out?
Who did I enjoy?
Whose performance did you like the most? Did you like all of them?
I loved all of them.
Chris Evans made me laugh so hard.
Yeah, he did.
Anna's an amazing actress. I want to see more of her in more things. And I mean, I think you
needs to be in.
And I think you can say Daniel Craig stole the show.
Oh God, yeah. I know everyone talks about his accent, but it's not just the accent. It's everything.
It's the performance.
That's all great. I always love like the side ones.
Characters, yeah.
I really like Don Johnson as the husband, the piece of shit husband.
Well, they're all pieces of shit people.
Yeah, but and then Michael Shannon.
Yeah,
is like the sort of like cowardly elder son. Mm-hmm. They worked really well, both of them. Yeah, really good.
Great sets though. Especially with the house.
Yes, I love that house. That's a great house.
Cinematography, outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think.
What's his name? God damn it. The one who
Christopher Plummer.
Yes, every time I was thinking of him, another name popped in my head. Christopher Plummer. There was more to him, and a little bit more to him in this film than I thought. And I liked his performance and everything that
it was a genuine surprise, and again, not something that is... It comes with the inherent nature of revealing the plot, but let's just say that there are things that happen here that are not going to go the way you think. Because you don't see them happen often. Mm-hmm. He's kind of the least shitty person in the movie. Among the least shitty people.
Yeah. Well, not to give anything away.
Exactly. I'm struggling to find anything in these films that I didn't like.
How about
pacing or editing?
Pacing.
One of the key things about Knives Out that I will say is that with films like these, and maybe some of the worst of them are like true examples of this. If you're this kind of whodunit movie, and if you don't hold our attention the entire time, if there are places where we just kind of lose interest, that's not good.
Yeah.
And I was riveted the entire time. Mm-hmm. It was never, to me, particularly slow. And the reveals are done in the best way possible. Thank you to Daniel Craig and everything.
No, I didn't really have pacing issues with either one.
No.
As far as negative, I obviously don't consider either of these to be perfect films. But I feel like I'm going to need more distance from them and more time to think about them. I'll probably think of maybe a little.
And we'll do a podcast on it for sure whenever we arrange it sometime in the following week or so. Most likely we'll end up talking about both movies at the same time in the same episode.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, so if there's nothing else you can say, we had a great time. I think most of the people that we saw this with had a great time. Mm-hmm. And go see them! Go see these!
Yes.
Anna and Elsa have enough people going to their theaters.
Yeah.
They're going to be just fine.
You don't... Let me tell you something. You probably already own Disney+. You're going to see this film 1 billion times. Just go with the family to see something else this Thanksgiving.
Unless little kids...
No, they can deal with it. They need to grow up, okay? Go watch Jojo Rabbit.
You would take...
And Nights Out.
Your infant son. Well, let's say your
infant. I would take no infant to the theaters ever.
A lot of people
should
do.
Not be at the movies. They shouldn't.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
Okay, what about their let's say you had a 4-year-old son.
Mm-hmm.
You take him to go see JoJo instead of Frozen 2.
He probably wouldn't have the attention span. Do 4-year-olds have the attention span for a movie theater?
I was watching Frozen 2 with several, I would say 4 or 5-year-olds.
Did they hold their attention?
I mean, No, I don't think so, because they were making side conversations or side noises. They'd be up and down the stairs as they usually are.
Well,
thinking
there
that
you
the
go.
theater
They
is a
should have been
playground.
at the theater anyway, then. They can wait for it to go on Disney Plus, where they can pause it, and they go run around and, I don't know.
Which won't take
paint the
too long,
walls.
I would say.
No.
But, I mean, Frozen 2, it's going to... I hate to say it, but it's going to take advantage of not one, but two holidays.
Christmas?
Yeah, it's going to be... It's still going to be here by Christmas, and people still want to see an animated
definitely.
movie.
Yeah.
It'll be the only animated movie in theaters.
They can see Jumanji.
Or Star Wars.
That's not a kid's movie. Star Wars isn't for kids. As Star Wars fans keep telling me. For some reason, Star Wars isn't for kids.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing else to say, keep an eye out for our podcast on these films. And dropping by the point that this is uploaded on Thanksgiving Day over the holiday weekend is...
Real quick, Kyle saw the films. He did not like them. Okay, keep going.
Episode 200 of Red Spotlight for just in time for the holidays.
Yep.
So keep an eye out for that. And I think I'm done. Do the thing.